Previously on Splat Attack.
Who is joining us today?
Well, we have a friend who joined us actually in episode 11, which is favorite 90s holiday specials, and returning for the second time on Splat Attack is our guest and fellow 90s podcaster, Toby from the Tape Store. Welcome, Toby. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Brett, what are we talking about today?
Ranking all 50 monsters from the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society.
Oh, joy!
Let's rock.
It makes me wanna fart!
Dear Journal, it's me, Doug.
You have it!
Baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do.
That was a hoot!
On your mark. Get set.
Oh, here it goes!
Moving right along, we have Babe Ruthless, as we mentioned before, for episode 32, A Star is Born. And where do I even start with this guy?
I just thought he was kind of lame.
Yeah, that was really all I had to. I wasn't a big baseball fan as a kid, but I did know who Babe Ruth was, and this really felt like Frankenstein as a kid, where it's like, why this? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I do remember that he was like based off of a pixie, like a dark pixie in the Sentai footage, but I don't think that really lends to his backstory or his arsenal of weapons or why he's even there or his motives to hurt the Rangers. Because like Mutitis and the Giant, he only exists in giant form. We never see like a small version of him. And he's accompanied by both Scorpina and Goldar. So like, what's going on here? Are they doing the heavy work or is he? Because all you've got is like pink spray out of your stupid hat nozzle and a giant red ball that you like to apparently play baseball with. That just gets swatted right back by the Dragon Zord.
He was kind of silly.
Yeah, he feels like a filler monster. There's not a lot going for him. I don't even like the way he looks. He's like on tier for gnarly gnome with me, so I give him a D.
Yeah, I'll give him a D.
Cool.
That's generous.
Yeah. As if one monster wasn't enough in this gang up for this episode, we also have Weaveworm in A Star is Born as well. And this is actually Scorpina's pet worm that was like a little thing in the palm of her hand that somehow encapsulated the Rangers in this weird looking red soap bar thing that got pushed into the Atlantic Ocean. And then later it became really big. And I think it was on its own. I don't think Rita like made him big. And he was pretty terrifying looking. Considering the fact that I've seen caterpillars like that in real life up close, that scared the shit out of me as a kid. That just brought back the bug themed nightmares that I often got. So I didn't like his hollow eyes. I didn't like all the sidearms that he has. His like gnarly voice was jarring to hear. So I think he was actually more effective enemy than Babe Ruthless in this episode in terms of giving the Rangers run for their money.
Yeah, I actually remember Weaveworm. I actually remember him. So like when I see pictures of him, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him. And I remember the stuff he shot out of himself, and he was able to trap the Megazord.
Yeah. He also got into that soap bar until the Dragon Zord like used its drill tail to like cut through it and like free the Megazord.
So I thought he was much better.
More effective.
Definitely more effective. I think he was definitely a tier above Babe Ruthless.
Yeah, I'd say so. I would give Weaveworm a B because I liked him. He was more effective. Scary looking too.
I'd probably say C.
Yeah,
okay.
I was going to lean towards a C.
Okay, a high C. High C. Moving on, we have Fang, simply known as Fang, from episode 33, The Yoke's on You. And I thought this was interesting because there's a little bit of lore behind Fang because it's this blue looking weird, I don't even know what it is. It's just some sort of weird blue looking monster with horns that retract, and it's got really long Wolverine-like claws, and it's obsessed with Gooneyberg eggs. Why? I don't know. I guess they're a delicacy from the planet where he comes from. But when I think Squat like cracks one open, it eats the weird Nickelodeon slime that's inside of it. He's like, "Oh no, I'm losing my mind. I need Goonie Bird eggs. I'm going to kill everything in my path that doesn't have Goonie Bird eggs or won't give me Goonie Bird eggs." So Rita takes advantage of his what do you want to call it, berserk mode, for lack of a better term, and manipulates him to attacking the Rangers, thinking that they have Goonie Bird eggs for him. And I thought it's funny that Jason from the Megazord cockpit is like, why are you attacking us? We don't have any Goonie Bird eggs. And he just won't listen. And the Ranger's like, all right, you asked for it. Going with the Power Sword. Sorry, Ultra Zord.
No, I just was going to say, I actually don't remember him. He wasn't memorable to me. I look at him now and I think he looks really cool. But I actually have it doesn't awaken anything, from the days of the early 90s,
Yeah, I'm there with Toby. As a kid, I do not remember this episode at all in the slightest. As an adult, I think it's funny that the villain looks happy all the time, even though he's clearly not. It's just the way the character is designed. He looks like he has a permanent grin.
Yeah, it's a little creepy too, because the white beady eyes with the black around it adds to the little creepiness. But yeah, the grin, I think it's just the way the monster's designed. They could only move like the hinged jaw a certain way, so it's not very expressive. So that's probably why his character was limited. Just a quick note that the zoo footage had to do with like a more tragic backstory. So if you want to read into that about how like a mother was like protecting the eggs as the last of her kind, you can go to the wiki for that. But that's noteworthy for the more diehard fans. So what would you give Fang for its performance and its look and its name and all that jazz?
I give him a D.
I'd give him a C, just because I don't have anything bad memorable about him. I just don't remember.
I'm gonna give him a C as well, just because even if he was one-track minded with his personality and had a uninteresting non-relative name, he put up a good fight when he was a giant against the Megazord. So for brute strength and for his memorable look, I bump it up to C. All right, moving on. We have Cyclops from a two-parter, episode 34 and 35, The Green Candle.
Wow.
I mean, there's no. You know what I say about this guy? He looks like a bunch of gym mats. Like that's what he's made of.
He looks like the Michelin Man.
Yeah, he does. He looks very minimalist as far as being really monotone.
Yeah, I think he was plucked from a Twilight Zone episode, The Fear, because he looks very similar to that monster.
But his purpose and the damage he causes is really, really bad. I mean, he was an awful villain as far as the chaos and damage and the effect that he, that he had on the Power Rangers. Of course, I mean, we're talking about his episode as the Green Candle, and we know that that's about Tommy losing his powers. So this was really brutal,
Yeah, it was essentially more about him serving as a distraction while Goldar fought off Jason when he was trying to retrieve the Green Candle while it was burning through its wax, and he was pretty effective at the serving as a diversion. Because
he could shapeshift.
Yeah, he could shapeshift into the other Megazords, so it made them think that it was them turning against each other and messing with their heads to like get a like a vulnerability or like an open shot.
And as a kid, I was so used to seeing Goldar blow it, and in this case, Goldar succeeds. He actually is able to come through.
Yeah.
We were so used to, another reason why these Green Ranger episodes are so great, but this particular one, the Green Candle, we were so used to that formula, man. The monster's going to show up. It'll give the Power Rangers some trouble initially, but they're going to come through. They do not come through on this one. I mean, yes, they defeat the monsters, but they are unable to save Jason, and they're unable to save Tommy in the sense of he has to give up his powers.
Yep.
It was awful. to watch as a kid.
Heart wrenching.
You at this point, the Green Ranger, the flute, it's all gone. It was awful.
Okay, I'm gonna be the opposite end of the candle on this one, because I side very much with everything you both have said with Tommy. Tommy is a freaking awesome character. I know I said earlier he can suck it, but that's just because of my intent. Because
Jason was our first leader,
right?
But I do love Tommy. He is an awesome character, but also I could not understand why this intense fan base for Tommy at that point in time, because Jason was the leader. Jason was the head Power Ranger, and now Tommy's here, and all of my friends have shifted from Jason to Tommy, and now there were girls who were also watching Power Rangers because of Tommy, and I'm like,
girls love a bad boy. You know, he was bad at first and he turned good, so people like that dynamic. Change of heart.
I think it's why did people go nuts over Loki in the MCU? Not to leave Power Rangers, but there's something about the redemption. But go ahead.
But and of course I didn't understand any of this as a kid.
Sure.
And it was driving me nuts. So whenever I got to this episode, I don't think I've ever rooted for a villain more in my life. I was totally on board with Goldar and Cyclops and Rita. I was like, do it, come on, do it. And then when he lost his power and wasn't able to be a Power Ranger, I was like, yes, suck it, all of you. I win. Jason's still the leader. You all are stupid.
Oh, jeez.
But you know that we know how that turned out later. But for about 5 seconds there, I was a very happy Power Ranger fan.
So I'm going to be the tiebreaker, huh? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, what can I say about Cyclops? I mean, he was good at performing illusions and serving as a diversion. I mean, I already said that before. The episode is great, but we're not here to talk about the episode. We're here to talk about the monster and his abilities to, you know, essentially buy Goldar and Rita time so that the candle just sucks all the powers out. And, you know, I think he does a pretty good job at that. I think he looks stupid in his base form, but he's good at what he does.
Yes.
So for that, I got to give him a B.
I'd give him a B as well. He succeeded at his goal. The design could have been better.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that consensus. Yeah. I mean, a B's good. Yeah. I think he was, and a B simply for the fact that he did the job that, you know, again, one of the few times a monster succeeded in getting something done, you know?
Right. It helps. Moving on, we have Hatchasaurus and Cardiatron from episode 36, Birds of a Feather, which is very misleading because Hatchasaurus kind of looks more like a dinosaur or a pterodactyl or something. It's not clear. I do like the name for both of them. It's very menacing. Like Hatchasaurus, so you think, ooh, a dinosaur is going to face the Dinozords. What's going to happen here? And then Cardiatron, obviously a heart robot, but you know, what we end up seeing is a giant monster who emerges from like the depths. He looks pretty cool because his back looks like it's like made out of trees and forest and stuff, and he's just emerges out of the hills, just like, I gotta destroy monsters, which is pretty cool. And I'm always a fan of the monsters who show up in giant form and don't mess around. He was revived twice after his defeat, once normal and then a second time where, surprise, surprise, he has horns grow out of him to make him look more threatening and to show that he means business because this is Power Rangers. And that was due to somehow Cardiatron's ability to revive him in his core inside. And they're technically treated as two separate monsters, but because they're codependent, I count it as one for the sake of this list.
Yeah. Sure.
So what happens, you know, aside from a brutal Megazord battle that took the Ultrazord, the Dragon Dagger, and the Power Sword and a Megazord Slash to defeat, you know, both monsters for good, is the fact that Jason had to go inside the monster, dislodge the heart after having some insult trade-offs there, take him out to the fields, don Green Ranger's vest and his dagger and do like a 1-2 slash right through the heart, which looked totally badass. Like that's my favorite defeat of the entire season. I'm sorry, it just looks so cool to see him slash through a talking heart like that. And it just leaves Hatchasaurus as a mindless goon that can't really function without it. And then once his Achilles heel or heart is taken out, then the rest falls into place. I think he's pretty opposing looking in terms of appearance. Both of them, they put up a good fight. Really put you on the edge of your seat when you watch the episode because you think it's going to be a two-parter, but it doesn't end up being a two-parter. And I think he would have made a great evil space alien figure if they went that route.
He reminded me of like a Godzilla monster.
Yes, like a kaiju.
Just the design of
it. He would have fit really well in that universe.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was thinking. In fact, I think I know the name of the one that he looks like. I think it's Gigan is who he reminds me of.
I can see that. I can see that.
But Alex nailed it. Look at that. He looks like a kaiju, which, oh my gosh, I love talking about those. But anyway, this is which it's I think it looks good. I liked the idea that you have these two monsters working in tandem. That didn't happen very often. So again, very much like the Samurai Fan Man. I think again, not illustrious like say Evil Green Ranger, King Sphinx, which I think it's really wonderful that we've been very, very conservative with giving the triple S out.
As we should. It's God tier.
But I thought he was just solid. I thought he was good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So what do you guys want to give for a rating for Hatchasaurus and Cardiatron?
I mean, I would rank them between a B and an A. I guess it depends on what you guys think, but I think at the very least a B.
I'm thinking a solid A. I loved him.
I was going to say A as well, just for the fact that it took so much to kill him.
Yeah.
And also that awesome reveal of Jason in the Green Ranger shield.
That's right.
Love it. Yeah. Beautiful.
I'll go with an A too, you guys.
It's worth it for that moment alone. Moving on, we have Polluticorn from episode 37, The Cleanup Club. And what can we say about Polluticorn? He's got kind of a weird powder blue look with he's a unicorn with some wings, flies around.
When did Captain Planet and Power Rangers decide to do a crossover?
Well, if you're a fan of the show The Office, Dwight has do you guys watch The Office, the show?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so Dwight has a character named Cyclops. And I think he had a villain named Polluticorn. So I don't know. That's what I thought of. I was like, anyway, I don't know. I think it was Polluticorn.
They picked him up from the recycle bin and reused him in the office.
I'm Cyclops. Anyway, I thought I liked his look. All right, he's like this armored Pegasus unicorn thing.
Yeah.
I thought he looked pretty cool.
Somewhat intimidating looking.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't remember him very much. He did not have an impression on me.
Yeah.
So I mean, he looked all right, but he is,
when you start getting into the pollution aspect of any kid's programming, that's when my brain went, okay, not paying attention.
Yeah.
Let's
try to shoehorn this in with our do-gooderness of the Power Rangers plot.
I think the only time any of that ever stuck was when Nickelodeon did The Big Help.
Right.
That I stuck with because this is a purpose, and we're making it very clear this is a purpose. And
we were seeing them do the work.
Yeah, it made it relatable.
Whereas in shows like Power Rangers and Captain Planet and Turtles and insert your cartoon action-oriented show, let's throw pollution as the villain. Oh, shut up. I want to see a monster. I don't want to see reality.
You don't want to get preached to.
Yeah.
I mean, if they somehow made the Toxic Avenger villain, then I would watch that because he looks pretty cool.
Oh man, Trauma and Bondi together.
Yeah. Some of that 80s flair coming into the 90s.
I would thrive off of that.
Yeah, missed opportunity for Power Rangers, but yeah, he's not very memorable for me. He has a decent arsenal of attacks, like being able to use the wing flap thing to blow the Megazord away, but he doesn't do
He
too
stole
much.
that from King Sphinx.
He did, and so does Peckster later on when we get to him. But he gets a free pass because he's a bird. But Polluticorn, you know, whatever. He also has a touch of like Lizzinator in terms of his design, which I thought, whatever. I think Lizzinator did it better. And then once he gets his horn chopped off, he's like moot. What's the point of having him on screen? Let's just kill him with 1-2 slash of the power sword. Other than that, what do you guys want to rank him? Because he does have one of the shortest MMPR deaths in history.
I don't remember him, so I say C.
Yeah, he just gets that. Meh. I can't. There's nothing I can critique about him.
Yeah.
He was another one very much like just the ones that I'm kind of like, oh.
See, you've already forgotten. Just
Right.
like Fang and
Fang.
Spitflower and Genie.
Yep.
Yeah, the blue catfish looking one that was Fang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't remember. Yeah, give him a C.
I'm going to give him a D because he dashed my hopes and expectations. Like, he looks somewhat threatening, and I thought he can do a lot with his like unicorn horn if he shot lightning from it, which I think he did when he was giant. But other than that, I didn't like the whole just kind of jump in and flap your wings and then grow big and then die. He didn't really do much for me as a villain, so down to a D. Moving on, we have Twin Man from episode 38, A Bad Reflection on You. And this guy also didn't stick around very much. His gimmick was that he made evil doppelgangers, which were putties in Power Ranger suits, you know, start harming citizens and running amok in the city and like tarnishing their reputation, which, you know, prompted the Rangers to sort this mess out. So after they ended up fighting their doppelgangers, revealing them to be putties and getting rid of them, they went after Twin Man, who is disguised as the Red Power Ranger. He's basically this like very pointy Japanese superhero kind of looking guy. He's got like this diamond mirror motif going on with his design. He's got like a very thin rapier that he occasionally like uses, but then he uses like some mirror gimmick and kaleidoscope vision to disorient the Rangers, which is, you know, effective for a couple seconds, but then they make quick mincemeat of him using the power blaster. And he has a very flashy death too. I like the little light effects that they use for his explosion. So can't really say too much about him. I think his design looks cool, and I think he was underutilized.
No, I just think the idea that he could he disguises himself as Jason at one point. I think that there's a lot more dastardly things they could have did with him, and they didn't. He had potential to be, I think, an A level, you know, rating villain, and I think he looks great. But again, yeah, underutilized. I would agree with Brett.
Yeah,
he felt really annoying as a kid. I remember thinking this was a great idea, but at the time I didn't think he was awful, and I don't mean awful in like, oh, this is dumb, but like awful as in like top tier level, like King Sphinx awful, where you just can't wait for this character to get it. He never reached that level. But I remember finding him annoying I hate that you've done this. I hate that you've made these doppelgangers and that you're ruining the Power Rangers reputation. I remembered that, and I couldn't wait for them to straighten it out. But like you guys said, they could have gone a lot farther, which would have gone from just annoying to, oh, I want you to die now, which is where you want to be with a Power Ranger show.
He could have caused some internal fighting within the actual group, you know.
Yeah, and even like send them through a mirror maze or something in another dimension. That would have been an instance where that would have been applicable to heighten the tension rather than just fight in a field in the middle of Tokyo or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to rank Twin Man?
I'd say B, just because he's not a bad villain, but he's not forgettable either.
Yeah, I was thinking a B or a C, you know, for potential. And he did do some cool stuff. He did disguise himself as Jason and stuff. And I thought, as far as abilities go, I thought they were, man, they can really do something with this, you know. I'm
gonna-
between a B and a C.
Yeah, that's where I am too. Just because of underutilized potential. I like his design and I like the cool mirror effects he does, but I want to see more of that and I want him to heighten the tension more. The reputation thing really and the doppelganger thing didn't really register with me as a kid. I just wanted to see them fight a monster and how they, you know, he can more effectively one-up him through his cunning strategy. So that's that. Moving on.
What did you give him again?
I'm gonna land on a C because I was in between a B and a C, just for the underutilized powers. But moving on, one of my favorites, we have Cyclopsis, and he's from episodes 39 and 40, Doomsday, which was supposed to be the original finale of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers before it got renewed for the ZO2 footage, landing them at episode 60. Despite having a slight variation and confusion with the other one-eyed white monster who's squishy and made of gym mats, this guy is one heavy metal force to be reckoned with. His name gives him an air of mystery and power. He's one of the best designs of any monster, not just this season, but the entire Zordon era of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He's got a massive arsenal of weapons at his disposal, including chest missiles that pop out. He's got like grappling hands. He's got lightning that shoots out of his horns, and he's got some really thick, chunky boots that he knows how to crush the Megazord with. Like, have you seen the size of those things? Man, it makes Go-Go boots look like doll shoes. Even though he's technically a war Zord that Goldar pilots, I don't care at all. He's a cool monster in my eyes. You know, Lokar system in battle to upgrade him, similar to Mutitus. He's another monster who grabs Dragon Zord's tail and whips him around like he's a plaything, which is totally savage. And he's one of the few monsters that also reflects the Dragon Zord battle modes like Dragon Fin attack back at him, which, you know, anytime a monster can deflect attack like without blinking an eye, I think that shows a true display of their power, like hidden power that they're concealing or holding back. Other than that, he's the final boss in the SNES game. He was also the final boss in the Sega Genesis game, which I remember taking advantage of once I beat the game to fight against my sister, like Minotaur. Very fun to play. Very fun to play as. Dinosaurs also attack him separately and then try different combinations to fight him. And then I think the most savage moment of their battle together is when Megazord's arm gets lacerated clean off and he like falls over, and then parts of him are just like disappearing into this I don't know, other dimension, or Zordon reveals that it was like a defense mechanism to teleport the pieces back to the command center so that it could recharge and get rebuilt so that it wasn't completely destroyed. But man, to get to the brink of like ending the Power Rangers, I gotta give him some serious kudos. What do you guys think?
I liked him because he looked like a Gundam.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Very pointy.
And I know, yes, he was a Zord, but I thought that was cool because I think it's the first bad Zord we see, and you got Goldar piloting it. So, you know, it shows that, you know, Goldar has his moments of being, you know, problematic. Competent for Rita, problematic for the Rangers. He looks great, and he was incredibly powerful, and he posed some real problems. So I liked him a lot.
I know we said we're not really going to talk about Rita's Posse, but you kind of have to a little.
At least not until the end,
because Goldar was, anytime Goldar was involved, I got nervous as a kid. Not because he was. I mean, he was imposing, but because he put up one of the biggest fights, and then you put him in his own Zord. I was scared as a kid. I was genuinely afraid that the Rangers were going to lose at least one of them. I mean, we've already proved that we've lost Tommy in previous episodes, and if we can lose Tommy, we can lose some of our regular ones.
True.
So I was afraid that we were going to lose at least one or two, and then to see how close he came to defeating them, I was on edge the whole episode.
Yeah, it definitely put me on edge like the evil Green Ranger did. Like just constantly imposing powerful threat, did not mess around, kicked the Zords while they were down. And I forgot how he was defeated, but it essentially took across the 2 parts every Zord combination except the Mega Dragon Zord to defeat him. So it just goes to show that they constantly had to strategize and think on their feet and, throw the darts on the board until something stuck and, find an opening. What do you want to rank them?
I would give him double S.
Yeah, I would say double S, very close to the top of the tier, but go ahead.
I'm going to give him a triple S. I love him. I absolutely love him.
I'd be willing to push him to that level. Yeah.
Cool.
I liked seeing a bad Zord. I liked seeing a bad guy pilot a Zord, I just thought that was, it's just, it's just something that.
Yeah, you don't see every day. And because it changes up the typical Monster of the Week formula, it really reels in your attention. And because it just brought on the hurt so much, you're like, oh, shoot. Are the Rangers actually going to lose, even though they're, really good at defeating all these monsters so far? So, for that alone, I gotta knock it up to top tier. Rolling along, we have Octoplant from episode 41, Rita Seed of Evil. And for some reason, they like to space out amazing monsters with really crappy monsters.
Because it looks like Peter Pan meets some kind of.
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like Lilymon from season 1 of Digimon, which admittedly I had a crush on when I was a kid. I'm not ashamed of that, but the fact that it had like this weird flower motif going with it with root legs, and then it took like 19 out of the 20 minutes of the episode to develop from like this bulb under the earth to like, fight the Rangers with some like vines here and there, and then like look at its reflection in the middle of a Megazord battle fight, which like left an opening for the Megazord to kill it from behind. It's like, come on, what's going on here? But it is the second female monster of the season, so that's something.
This was another one of those. I remember what you look like. This is Bones. I remember what you look like. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that. Like, this is my first time, like, either I must have forgotten about her, but this is like, I'm like, she was gone, completely erased from my memory.
Yeah, that's because she doesn't do anything until the last 2 minutes of the battle. Like, she's known for kicking really fast and then looking at herself in the reflection of the building. That's all.
It does not bode well for her rating.
Yeah. Well, let's just get her out of the way. I give her a low D.
Oof.
For the Digimon connection.
I'll go with Brett because I just don't remember her. So yeah. I'll do the low D as well.
I just stick with C just because I don't remember the character much like Bones, but Bones I remember a lot more. I had completely forgot what this character who Octoplant was until I saw them. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember you, but still, even then, no memory.
Yeah, I don't think it helps that the name doesn't really describe the monster. Like no. when you say Octoplant, you think like, oh, octopus monster. This would have been a better fit for Pinoctopus, I guess. But other than like, I mean, what would you come up with for an alternative name that would better fit this monster, if any? Petal Punisher?
Yeah, it would have to have some alliteration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of them have that. I can't think of anything.
Vine Vixen.
God.
Yeah. This is why I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Well, let's not waste any more time with her. Let's move on to Goo Fish from episode 43, Something's Fishy. I have to say, this is a very memorable one for me. She's one of the grossest one of the grossest, hideous, and terrifying monsters of the season, in my opinion, because it's like some sort of poisonous fish. It's got like a head. It's got two heads where it's like a one eye and these three fangs coming out of its mouth, and then a head coming out of the side that's like gooey, and then a horn on the other side. It's frightening. I was terrified of this as a kid, even more terrified of the toy that came out, the evil space alien one, 8-inch figure.
God, they had a toy of this one.
He was most known for the fact that he kind of sounded like Lord Zed and also sprayed blue goo that acted as acid, and ate through the Rangers costumes,
That's right.
messing with their abilities. And they fought on the beach too. He has a pretty sinister personality, and aside from the blue goo, he doesn't have too much in his arsenal. He does have this like cool swordfish kind of golden lance that he uses occasionally in battle, which complements his look pretty well with the navy and the crimson red for his look. Any thoughts on him other than the fact that he's a typical defeated by power sword monster?
I barely, if at all, remember him. He was another one that
really
got lost. I know.
See, he was vivid in my memory.
And see, I'm the same. I'm there with Toby. It was same as Octoplant. I forgot, and then I saw it. And I was like, "Oh man, yeah, I forgot all about this one." And then you said he got a toy. It's like, "Oh, I forgot."
Yeah, I think it's because I played with the toys so much as a kid that really cemented the memories of these characters. Because otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't have anything to connect with them.
But this one very much at this point in the series, going back to the standard formula, felt so less epic than what it used to.
Yeah.
So whenever you go back to something like this, it left such a little impression.
Yeah. It also didn't help that he was one of the slower monsters as well as a giant too. So we're like, ooh, just get a few slashes in there and call it a day. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to rank Goo Fish?
I'll go with a C. I don't remember.
Yep.
And
Same
can't think of anything.
Yeah, straight C for me. Looks cool, looks frightening, but aside from that, got nothing else going for it. Moving on, we have Goatan the Liongoat from episode 44, Lions and Blizzards.
Wow.
And surprisingly,
Look, it's
The Liongoat. What?
Yeah.
They were doing acid. I'm just gonna say it.
What the hell were they thinking?
Some kind of psychedelic. Hey, a lion goat, right? And they're like, let's do it.
It's a pretty redundant name, probably the most of season 1, but I kind of wish they went more the chimera route, because that's essentially what it is. If you look closely, it has a snake tail, a goat head on its chest or back. It's got some wings on the side of its shoulders. So really it's taken another page from Greek mythology, and they should have just called it a chimera. Or
yeah, I do remember this one. He made some impression on me.
Yeah, because he was able to control the weathers, which was not a typical monster power.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. He was created from the Lion Trophy from the Angel Grove oddball games, which is like some sort of decathlon type thing that they did, and they're all trying to win the trophy. I don't know. But both this monster and Fighting Flea appear before Bulk and Skull before anyone else to terrorize them lightly, which I thought was kind of amusing in terms of like a monster pattern. Like they got to get warmed up, so they got to pick on the school bullies before they attack the Rangers.
No, that's good. They needed that.
Yeah, they ended up sending them flying into the lake, and they ended up getting all muddy and caught like a policeman afterwards. So, good comedic humor. And of course, the policeman wouldn't believe that a lion goat attacked them.
Okay, no, you've had monsters attack this town regularly. This is nothing out of the ordinary now.
Yeah, I think they just choose to look the other way.
You were in the building and saw a freaking Zord 2 days ago. Don't give me this crap.
Yeah. I mean, they should pay attention. This guy can conjure blizzards, tornadoes, and thunder Zords, according to Zordon. So it's a force to be reckoned with, and I'm sure he would give Storm from X-Men a run for her money. Just a fun, quick little Greek mythology fact, because I did dig a little deeper with this. Lobades, king of Lycia, ordered Bellerophon to kill the chimera, thinking he couldn't do it, but trusting the gods with the winged horse Pegasus as his aid, they shot down the flying beast together. So originally this monster is supposed to fly to kind of mimic that lore, but they just decided not to and just do standard, beat him up fair once he went giants. In terms of his arsenal, besides the weather, he fires pink lasers from his eyes a couple of times. Summons a whirlpool from Goatmouth, capture Rangers. But he is the fluffiest monster, I do have to say. Like, he has a lot of fur on him with a little bit of scale reptile armor mixed in. So, it adds some visual appeal to him. Oh, this is one of the few times where the Megazord fights in a blizzard and he actually gets frozen. It has to do this weird, like, little spinny pirouette to unfreeze somehow. And, after that, power slashes him. So what do you rank Lion Goat, whatever his name is? Goatan. Yeah.
Lion goat.
Lion, what are you doing?
Oh my God.
Sorry, Toby.
Did that tickle your nostalgia?
Oh no, I know Thundercats. I mean, I know who Snarf is.
Yeah. He's also part Canadian apparently too, because Goatan summons a hockey stick to slapshot the Zord.
I was about to say Snarf is not Canadian.
No. The hockey stick is just like the rake. It's ridiculous. So yeah.
I would give Goatan a B, just because I do remember the character. I do think the abilities are pretty awesome. Not as much of a threat, but a solid villain.
Yeah.
I think he was better than average. I remember him, even though I think the idea of this lion goat thing, I think it was unique. So I thought I definitely liked the lion head and stuff. I thought that part of him looked really cool.
Yeah.
The goat being right there was kind of whatever, but I would give him a B.
Yeah, I give him a high B. I was a little perturbed by his design at first, but he grew on me when I saw him in action, and I liked his weather abilities too. Brought a unique dynamic to the monster fights. Moving on, we have Fighting Flea from episode 46. To flee or not to flee? That is the question. Appropriate name with the alliteration, has a nice ring to it, although the highly irritating voice, along with the highly irritating prison jumpsuit orange with the beady red eyes, I'm like, I can't watch this anymore.
I thought it was interesting in the sense that I don't know, maybe more of an annoyance than an actual real threat. He bit you, it caused a rash. He could shrink. That was kind of cool.
I think he was technically the smallest monster that we've seen this season, like with Weaveworm being a close second place, because it was like he shrunk down to actual flea size and like was on Kimberly's dog. So when Bulk and Skull were like trying to return the dog for a reward by calling a phone booth in the park, and then the flea shows up from the dog, they're like, similar to Goatan. So I think that adds a little bit to its interest, but aside from that, it doesn't really have much of a lasting impression. I mean, it only fights melee attacks. There's no weapons or anything.
Yeah, I liked the design of it. I didn't like the voice.
I noted this, that Fighting Flea, I don't know if it's a girl or a boy based on the voice, but it sounded a lot like Katrina Johnson giggling like Ross Perot from All That. Like, yeah. Maybe it's her gig before All That. Who knows?
It wasn't one of the better ones.
No.
I think it was specifically designed just for the annoyance factor.
Yeah.
Get through an episode.
Yeah, pretty lame, pretty annoying, typical defeated by power sword. I give it a D.
Same.
Yeah.
Cool. On to the very original Jellyfish in episode 47, Reign of the Jellyfish. And I'm just going to say this right off the bat. I think it's ugly. I didn't like it. I think it's unoriginal. And I really miss the little umbrella things that attach to its weird pink pointy shoulder spikes that were apparently lost in transit from Japan to America when they were reusing the costume.
Yeah, I have no memory of Jellyfish one at all.
Neither do I.
I don't even think I got around to watching this one in preparation for the episode. So
it's okay. You weren't missing much. I mean, some of these ZU2 monsters that happen after Doomsday aren't much. They're kind of just here filler to satisfy the craving for more Power Rangers. This one really didn't have anything going for it that hasn't been seen before. It has toxic spray that melts everything that touches, like park benches especially. It uses an actual umbrella, a pink veiny umbrella that it opens up and deflects attacks from the Megazord. So it's got at least something in terms of like countermeasures to fight against it, and has like little brief teleportation hops, which is more of a gimmick than a useful strategy since it's not fully utilized. So I'm not going to go too much into the battle or anything like that. It's fairly slow when it's giant, so I give it a D as well.
And I would just say C just because I don't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would go. I would go either way with that. I don't remember it. It doesn't look good, so I would go towards a D, just based on the fact that
Doesn't it look
got-
like a jellyfish?
Well, it's got legs
No.
and arms, and then it's got some just thing. I can't make out any kind of head or anything on it. It's
Yeah.
and I don't remember it at all.
It's very abstract and doesn't have much characterization in line with its assumed persona of a jellyfish.
Right.
Doesn't even sting, so whatever. Moving on, we have a very original monster as well, the Mantis from episode 48, Plague of the Mantis. And despite its equally boring name as the jellyfish, I actually remember this one quite well from the Gung Ho episode of, that's how I remember this episode, as Gung Ho, where Trini's doing like Tai Chi with her sensei and has to learn how to like fight better or learn the honor and tradition that goes along with martial arts. And this villain is essentially a giant mantis with 2 legs, taunts Trini a lot in the woods, fairly fast, got some cool praying mantis arms to, slash her back and forth. Does not actually fight fair, even though it claims it does. So it's very manipulative in that sense, which you don't get to see too often from Power Ranger monsters. Other than that, I think it was transformed from Trini's Kung Fu Master's pet mantis. So it's kind of like a foreshadowing of what Lord Zed does with his monsters in season 2, which are based off of objects or everyday kind of things instead of just spells or clay monsters that Finster makes. And lures Trini into battle 1-on-1 before the Megazord takes it out with a couple of slashes and the Power Sword blow.
I thought it was pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
It was, as you said, unoriginal. It just was essentially a praying mantis.
Yeah.
I always enjoy the Power Ranger stories that focus in on one Ranger dealing with
Yes.
some kind of issue.
Right.
But the monster itself was meh.
Yeah.
So
I agree with Toby. Another insect villain is just highly unoriginal. And we've already had insect villains. We just had a Flea.
Yeah.
And you could tell they were running out of ideas at this particular point, and it just felt like they were running on fumes. And I did like the one-on-one with Trini, and I did like that they pulled a little bit of gimmick with her grandfather's Mantis, but the villain was just I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, I like the look of the Mantis. It didn't really have much going for its powers or fighting style. I guess it's praying mantis kung fu fighting style, whatever that is, or if it's true to that or not. But for
I doubt it is.
Yeah, it's Power Rangers. I give it a ranking as like a low C, just because I like the look of the Mantis. I like the little Trini interactions with it. Megazord battle didn't care for. Nothing beyond that in terms of personality or memorability.
I would probably give it a C, just based on, it looks okay. It just was, again, kind of just it's just, it was one of those monsters they fought.
And in my way of thinking, C is right on the category of don't remember you, but if I remember you and you just didn't leave much of an impression, I drop you down to a D. So that's where I would rank Mantis for this one.
That's fair. Moving on, we have Dramole from episodes 49 and 50, Return of an Old Friend, where we get to see, surprise, surprise, Tommy after he lost his powers. And the interesting thing about this monster, other than the fact that it's a purple and orange mole, like when do you see that, is that it spends the entire first part essentially just burrowing underground, causing havoc within the Angel Grove juice bar, which I thought was interesting because it's a very non-direct approach to attacking the Rangers. So I gotta give it points for strategy there, and the fact that it has really stinky armpits that somehow cause the sky to go from all sunshine and rainbows to like dark doom and death.
Oh,
like,
God. Is that for real? I don't remember this one.
That is for real. And there's also an evil space alien figure that's even extra purple and orange, like Nickelodeon purple and orange, depicting it. It's something.
That's interesting. I remember nothing about Dramole.
Yeah, same.
It's got toxic armpits. That's all you need to know. And it got defeated by the Ultra Sword. And it grumbles.
That helps it in my book because it makes me laugh. But other than that, I would have to give it. Good God, I would have to give it a C.
Yeah, same.
Just because it was just there.
Yeah, I like the look of it, similar to how I like the design of Mantis, but there's really no personality there. And I feel like defeating it with an Ultrazord was overkill in this situation. Like its power level didn't warrant an Ultrazord kill. It could have been defeated with the Power Sword, or maybe Dragonzord battle mode at most because of its tough hide.
Yeah, and at this point, the Ultrazord was starting to feel like the Power Sword, where it was becoming more and more commonplace.
Yeah, when we saw it like 1 or 2 times, we were like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" They gotta pull out all the stops to kick his butt. But now it's like, okay, here we go again on the little Titanus chariot. Do we get any upgrades this time? Moving on, we have Grumble Bee from episode 51, also called Grumble Bee. Kind of a catchy name, very fitting because it's I don't know if it is fitting because it's technically a wasp, not a bee. But it looks cool. It looks threatening. It's got a very yellow, black, orange color palette to it. Kind of built. It attacks mainly Billy and Trainee in this episode, more so Billy because he's got like anxiety surrounded from getting bad grades, which to him is a B on exams. So somehow Grumble Bee plays on that like anxiety and fear and perfectionism, where it messes with his head a little bit with making supersonic buzzes and also lots of puns, which can be annoying. He also has a special type of venom that erodes Billy's self-esteem after he got his grades back from his exam, forces Billy and Train to retreat as a result of that. Also utilizes his wings for the supersonic waves, and this is one of the few instances where the Rangers have to retreat to the command center to make a new device to like stop the monsters instead of just use what they have already in their weaponry. He works with Alpha 5 to make a special device to like weaken the bee. I can't tell you what it looks like or what it does specifically, but it's something that he like uses. I think it's like a Triceratops looking blaster of some sort, if I recall correctly. He ends up stinging the Rangers while they're in tank mode before forming the Megazord, leaps great distances and uses kicks with supersonic buzz, as I mentioned before. Insults the Power Sword as it's charging up, which I thought was a nice poke at the whole formulaic battles in the show. And he got his own 5.5-inch action figure, which came with this weird satellite dish weapon thing that is totally irrelevant to his character. So with all that being said, and his cameos in season 2 and season 3, what would you want to rank him?
I do remember this one. I remember the effect that he had on Billy and Trainee, especially Billy. But I do like a villain that does personal attacks and tries to drive apart the Power Rangers. And I like when they try to attack the smartest, because Billy and Trainee were the smartest. I think Trainee gets overshadowed a lot.
Yeah,
but she was probably the only one who could really be on par with Billy's ramblings, techno babble. So to see when a villain really goes after 2 of the smartest team members, you're really hitting the team pretty hard. I think you're more effective at that than going after the leader, because then the leader is going to be more worried about his team. And I remember really being frustrated about that. So I not top tier, not even close, but above average. I'd go B.
Yeah, me too.
Grumble Bee gets triple Bs from we 3.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty cool. And again, I thought he was better than average.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, we're moving on to Two-Headed Parrots from episode 53. 2 heads are better than 1. If you love Goatan, then you're going to love this guy because he has a second head in his stomach, just like the other one. But they're both parrots this time, and they actually like to argue with each other for some reason. So what do you want to say about this guy? I mean, he's got a weird, feathery, fleshy color palette to him, reds, flesh tone, and yellow beak. He's surprisingly agile. He likes to leap from trees. He does have a little bit of flight, not much. He does have an evil space alien toy version that's 5.5 inches, came with a razor edge feather adorned shield that I kind of wish that he used as a weapon in the show, but it is what it is. But more importantly than like his appearance or just his typical attacks with the Megazord, resulting in its defeat by the Ultrazord. What stood out to me is his method of defeat, or at least his method of being disarmed. So what happens is Tommy goes to the juice bar and finds out that Ernie has a special fruit called the Pomango. And it's apparently this rare exotic fruit that Two-Headed Parrot finds irresistible. So he gets Ernie's last Pomango fruit, instead of using it in like Ernie's smoothie for the juice bar, and then just throws it at the Two-Headed Parrot, and they begin fighting over it. So, using that little strategic move, just defeats him. A lot of his attacks he counters with feather darts, both when attacking the Rangers and the Megazord. And, aside from being bipolar, that's pretty much it. Like, not really much else to talk about him. He does fight melee too with his talons.
Yeah, I do remember the Pomango, the fruit part of the story, but he did not make an impression on me. I do remember something about, though, again, vaguely, Ernie and this fruit. Yeah. So I know I saw the episode, but I do not remember that monster.
The fruit is more memorable than the monster. I think we are in agreement there.
Yeah, I was going to side with Toby on that. And as an adult, all I see is if you took the door knockers from Labyrinth and put it in a bird.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
They were great.
I can see
if you combine the door knockers with the Firebirds from Labyrinth, there you go.
Bam. Cool. So what should we rank Two-Headed Parrot?
I mean, I would give him a C.
Low C from me. Yeah. Low C. Okay. Well, I hope you like birds, because we got another bird here. It's the Peckster, who is in episode 53, Foul Play. Very fitting name. And he's actually a very jovial monster. He's like very playful, very lively. He loves to engage in witty banter with the Rangers, which I find a refreshing pace from like the typical, I've got to defeat you, Rangers. No, he's here to have fun while killing them. So that's pretty cool about his personality, very lively. He engages with Zach in playing a game involving some balloons, and he ends up pecking them, because how could you not want to peck them with a giant beak like his? And one of them turns out to be like this really thick dodgeball that he gets his beak stuck in, which I thought was a great way to outsmart the bird. And while he's like wrestling with it, they're like trying to blast him into oblivion with the power blaster. But I think they slightly miss. You want to talk about that, Alex?
I had, because this one I had no memory of, and I didn't get a chance to rewatching this one. And then just that bit that you talked about, I remembered that.
Yeah.
That's it. I remembered
that
part.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the villain. I didn't remember the jovial banter, but I remember them outwitting with a dodgeball. And I remember that image of that stupid bird.
Yeah. What do I do now? Well, once he grows big, he actually has a decent arsenal of weaponry and attacks to use against the Rangers. In addition to having flight, which is utilized more with him than other bird-related monsters. He also has various pecking attacks, throat darts, toxic tornadoes, and can summon putties, and is also adept at hand-to-hand combat. I would say he's even one of the fastest hitting monsters of the season, giving Dark Warrior and Nasty Knight a run for their money. Like, he's really quick, lightning fast. And he's in the Megazord is actually using the Mammoth Shield in a rare instance to defend against his attacks too, because his beak's just so relentless and sharp and can pierce through anything apparently. He does do the whole wing flapping thing, which I know King Sphinx did it first, but it can't be helped because it's a bird. And then, before its demise from the power sword, I also like that he taunts and laughs, as he's about to meet his doom. So.
What? You think that silly thing scares me? All right, Rangers, let's do it.
maybe he's not the strongest monster, but he's definitely the fastest and the most enjoyable in terms of personality. So,
I thought it was unique in that way. I thought he was decent. I like the way he looks. I do think it's funny that he was laughing when he died. I think that might be
best way to go out.
That might be a first,
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought he was the perfect balance of. I think he's the first humorous. They all at times can be funny, the monsters, but he actually was like a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, right.
I
can see him in the beginning of Seinfeld, just like a show called Peckster.
Yeah, he's
trying. What's the deal with those Rangers?
So he kind of is unexpectedly pretty good. Like when you see him, he doesn't seem like he's got a whole lot to him, but I think he's good. Yeah, I
like him. Yeah. I did note that he was also attacked by the cranial laser from the Megazord, which is a rare instance where we see that power being used. So that was pretty cool, but he easily retaliated that and regained his composure. I think he's one of the most dangerous batch of monsters of the season in terms of his strength. Like, I think his humor undermines his true power, and the fact that they had to outsmart him just goes to show that, if they just played it straight, they might not have been lucky. Other than that, he's got an evil space alien figure with retractable wings, which is pretty cool. And for all those reasons that we've discussed, I give him a high B.
Yeah, I'm good with a high B. I would almost give him an A, but yeah, I would agree with that.
And I was going to give him a C till you mentioned the dodgeball. Then I was like, oh, yep, nope. So I concede with B.
Yeah. Solid, yeah. Moving on, we have another fan favorite, spoiler, with Pumpkin Wrapper from episode 54, Trick or Treat. Great fitting name. Love the look. I don't know why his pumpkin head is upside down and why he's got a weird corset thing going on here, but it works for him. He's totally monster chic in his appearance.
Yeah, he's one of the best looking ones. He is an iconic villain.
Yeah.
Not just because I'm a big fan of Halloween, which I am, but he just looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I very much remember him. I liked him a lot.
He's the rapping monster that everyone remembers, because he always says like something like cheesy white rapper 90s before he's about to attack the Rangers. And I don't know, I think some people may find that grating. Like, I see Alex shaking his head, but I find it charming in a silly way.
I really wanted to dislike this villain. There was that, it was everywhere. Everything had to rap in the 90s. And
yeah, even Mike O'Malley did it in Get the Picture. So everyone had to get in on that.
and oftentimes it just wasn't good, especially when you're putting it in a kid's show. It was just bad. So whenever this character came out, and I was like, yes, crap, now we're doing this. Oh, you're really cool. Oh, I really like your design. Oh, now you're rapping again. Oh, no, you're doing the cool power thing.
Give and take.
Take the rap away.
Either that or, have a professional rapper like Rum DMC or Ice Cube serve as the voiceover for Pumpkin Wrapper, make it legit.
I really wanted to not like this character just on the rapping principle alone, but even with it, it's still a really cool villain.
Yeah. And he has a decent arsenal of moves too. Like he can stun the Rangers with like this Ivy wrap that he's got going on. He can suffocate them with jack-o'-lanterns, pumpkins put on their heads, which is interesting. Considering the fact that he can summon putties with jack-o'-lanterns on their heads as well. Just about. And I don't know. What else can I say about him? He steals the Dino Blasters with the whip and wraps them up. So, he's not just being a goofy monster. He's still fighting with some strategy. And the Rangers are actually having a hard time, getting the upper hand until Tommy shows up and just saves the day, as he tends to do out of nowhere. So, that's that. And I kind of wish that we got to see his giant Zord footage, because apparently it was made for him, but I think due to time constraints with the story, they had to cut it out. So he got taken out with the Power Blaster after Tommy immobilized him. But even so, I think he's an iconic, lovable monster. He still has a Lightning Collection toy based off him to this day. So I'm going to give him an S for my ranking.
Yeah, when I saw him and read about him and remembered him, I was like, that's at least an S. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that's definitely good.
And I would say A, and you both know why I drop him from an S to an A.
Gee, you Rangers make me mad. I don't understand you. Why so bad? That's why.
That's why.
Well, I won't let you hang on to that bad memory any longer, because we have Soccadillo with episode 55, Second Chance. Love the name, love the gimmick, love the look. It's an armadillo who rolls up into a giant soccer ball and is kicked around in the field for a little bit before it fights the Rangers with its claws, its blue eye laser things, and even deflects a few of the more powerful Ranger attacks against it, like that weird thing where they do the human pyramid and put their ZU daggers together and do the crystal explosion thing, and then I think it deflected the power blaster blast too. So it's one of the tougher, like, defensive monsters that Rita has sent down to attack them. Other than that, I think the ball itself is just as destructive as its normal form, because it can roll around and even like do this weird gyroscope levitating thing where it can just like hover in the air and like knock them over. So I think that's pretty effective and gives a little bit of dynamic range to the character. Finster does say that it has electric needles as a move, but we never actually get to see it. So, that's unfortunate. Maybe it's from the Japanese footage. I like how the putties play soccer with it at the beginning to add to its comedic charm. So that's a plus in my book. Other than that, it had a 8-inch evil space alien figure that I also got to play with at my friend's house. Very fun. So it sticks in my memory a little bit more for that reason, and enjoying its design and just armadillos in general. Other than that, killed with the Mega Power Sword, had a marvelous spinning death. Really enjoyed it. What do you guys think?
I do remember him turning into a ball and being kicked around. I thought that was kind of cool, like an armadillo. I think he looked pretty good.
It might have been a girl because its voice was high pitched, but it was hard to tell, like fighting Flea too.
But outside of the putties kicking him around, I don't remember much. But he didn't make a major impression. Made an impression. I made an impression more than some of these other ones did.
Yeah.
But not a huge impression.
I would put it mid-tier. I do remember wondering as a kid if Sonic the Hedgehog was an inspiration for this character.
Maybe.
Obviously not being a hedgehog, but an armadillo. But still, the basic premise was still there of curling up into a ball and roll and do a roll attack and things like that. And also it be its major defense as well as its offense.
I mean, if you think about it, I think you can make the comparison of Sonic to Lokar as well, because he's blue and spiky like a porcupine.
But I do remember this one quite well, and I think he really put up a good fight, probably a better defensive fight than most this season.
Cool. So what should we rank Soccadillo then?
I'd go solid B.
Yeah,
I would go with a B. That's good.
B. It deserves it. Moving on, we have Slippery Shark from episode 56 on Fins and Needles. And I really like, as goofy as its like frozen terror face looks, I really like the design of this monster. And I like the boomerang fin weapon that it's got, and how it like acts as a land shark underneath the ground as it's like surfing around the forest or whatever, and trying to like manipulate Jason and Tommy to like fight against each other. So it's got a more of a strategic outlook than just straight on attacking the Rangers. Kind of similar to Dramole in that it like likes to stay underground until it can't anymore, and then it just goes on the offensive. Other than that, it's a shark, hammerhead shark, which is pretty cool. Got a toy figure, also looks pretty cool. That's probably why I remember it so well. I like the name. It ducks the Mega Power Slash, which does not happen often, if ever, but ends up getting slashed a second time into oblivion. So what do you guys think about Slippery Shark?
I remember him. I liked him. He had the boomerang fin.
Yep.
You know, I thought it looked really, the eyes, being like really wide and stuff, and it just looked kind of creepy, kind of bizarre.
Yep.
So I think he was pretty good. I think he was kind of on par with the Soccadillo,
Mm-hmm.
But I remember him more. So yeah.
Okay, Alex.
And I think opposite for me with Soccadillo, where I remember his appearance, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys want to rate Slippery Shark then?
I would rate him a B because I really remember him. He made an impression.
I'm going to give him an A because my impression was deeper with him, and I thought him more terrifying in terms of his look and the way he moved so fast underneath the ground and then popped up. Because, my kind of like Doug from Nicktoons, my imagination would run wild with some of these monsters and imagine what it'd be like if they attacked me in Angel Grove, and just being afraid of having like a really fast shark that like swam underground, pop up out of nowhere and attack me with like a boomerang fin and that garish, frozen look on his face.
And I would also say B.
Cool. Moving on, we have the Lizzinator from episode 57. Enter the Lizzinator. Powered by Arnold Schwarzenegger parodies, apparently. He has an interesting little backstory about his composition, because I don't think he's necessarily like clay monster that Finster makes. He in his wiki page, he's made from super metals from another galaxy, so he's got some resilience to rival Soccadillo and even surpass. I did not like his look at all. I thought he was butt ass ugly, like one of the worst looking ones aside from Polluticorn and maybe even Gnarly Gnome. But I think Gnarly Gnome looks a little bit better because of the whole Viking outfit. But this one is just like, I couldn't stand it on screen. It was like the shade of white with the hair and the dark gray. And for some reason, he liked picking up cars. He didn't care that much about fighting the Rangers, especially Jason when he cornered him. He just like picking up tiny little Geos that Ned Flanders would drive around and hurling them at the Rangers for fun. But because of his resiliency, he took quite a lot of blows when they sparred with him, and he had quite a few attacks. He had this noxious breath that would immobilize the Megazord and Dragonzord. He had red-eye lasers that would knock all the Rangers down. He could summon putties at will, which, helps put on the pressure for the Rangers, as a few other monsters have done as well. Also picks up the Dragonzord tail with ease like Frankenstein and spins him around like a record. Ultimately defeated by Ultrazord, because what else do we have? Just go full on with this one, since he's a real toughie. Other than that, what do you guys want to say about him?
I don't remember him at all.
I don't remember either. No memory.
I mean, you remember him for the Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Because I know I did.
No, I just did. That is just the name. No, I
don't remember him.
So what do you want to rank him then?
Because I have nothing to give, I guess I would just say C. He was just kind of
Yeah. I want to give him a B because of the Arnold Schwarzenegger goofiness and the fact that he likes to throw cars, because no other monster does that.
I'm assuming he actually was like an impersonation where he did that ridiculous voice.
It was bad. Yeah. He liked to smash through walls too in abandoned warehouses. And that somehow scared me as a kid. So for that and the car thing, I give it a B. In the similar vein, though, we're going to go with Rhinoblaster, which is another tough cookie. He was in episode 58 of Football Season. And I kind of like his name. It's kind of imposing. Rhinoblaster, like it's some sort of weapon in of itself. And he's pretty threatening when you look at him, because for some reason he's like ultra buff, ultra muscular, and then he has his head stuffed inside his neck with his big protruding golden horn sticking out. So he's got that going for him, along with like putties wearing football gear to like create a defensive line against the Rangers when they fight against him. He's got this cool saber that he likes to whip out, especially against the Dragonzord. Talks in a lot of football jargon that's kind of forced, but whatever. It's more the plot's fault unless the monster's fault. He actually traps the Rangers in a multi-dimensional vortex by spraying them with a white flurry of mist, which we haven't actually seen in a while, since around like Madame Woe, maybe. Other than that, this is a rare instance where Tommy is in the Dragon Zord fighting him, and he gets knocked out because of an orange energy blast from his horn. Something you don't see too often, because Tommy doesn't like to stay in his Zord for some reason. Ultimately, he's defeated by the Mega Dragon Zord with one of the Zeo Energy Ball blasts. Oh, he had a toy. He had an evil alien space figure toy that I remember playing with.
It wasn't very memorable to me.
I do remember him, and I had completely forgotten about the football player Putty Patrol. But I did. I say I don't remember, but I think part of me did, because as I was recalling the character, I recalled the design, and I was thinking, he looks like a football player. Doesn't I think it's a rhinoceros looks like a football player, and then the Putty Patrol were football players. So I think part of me did recall some of that more than I had originally anticipated, more than I had thought initially, and which makes sense because it's a freaking rhinoceros. I mean, the rhino on Spider-Man.
They're good at charging.
The rhino on Spider-Man, very much the same kind of attack mode, very juggernaut. So it tracks, and I recall him more than I thought, and had quite a bit of resiliency. So
yeah,
I would give him a solid B.
I give him a B too, a high B. I liked his design. I liked his not his gimmick, but he seemed like a well-rounded monster. I liked how he sparred with the Dragon Zord as if it was like a personal vendetta against him. Especially since Tommy fell out, you don't see that ever. So he definitely meant business. I liked how he had the dimensional vortex powers, because we haven't seen that in a few episodes. So yeah, well-rounded, solid, good defensive monster.
And since I don't remember much of him, for some reason, I'll defer to you guys' rating.
Okay. He's all around. Moving on, we have Commander Crayfish from episode 59, Mighty Morphin Mutants. Great name, great look. Kind of looks like a lobster, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. With a sword for some reason instead of a claw cracker, because that would have been more appropriate. What makes him stand out, though, is that he actually trains a group of putties to be Mighty Morphin Mutants. So they take these weird, like, little clay morphers, and after some training montages on the beach, they become, the Power Rangers. But because the Red Ranger putty can't cut it, he gets cut from the team, and then Commander Crayfish takes over because he's red enough, I guess. They have a cool fight on the beach, and you got one of these doppelganger situations where evil Green Ranger, evil Pink Ranger face their goody counterparts at the park, which is fun to see. And then a callback to the evil Green Ranger, when Commander Crayfish grows giant, he actually brings the Green Ranger mutant along with him to grow large, along with the blue and the black one. Why the girls don't get in on that, I don't know. But they form some sort of like weird attack pyramid where Commander Crayfish sits on the Rangers and then just like goes around like this, like poking him with his sword until Megazord makes lobster dinner out of him. So what do you guys want to say about Commander Crayfish?
I do remember Commander Crayfish. I remember liking him. He was solid. Thought he was really good. I like the way he looked.
Did you say he butters really good?
I thought he looked really good. I thought
good enough to eat.
Yeah, he was good. I liked him a lot. I remember him really well. I remember enjoying that episode. So I thought all in all, he was a good villain.
Yeah.
I did not remember the Crayfish. I remembered the doppelganger Power Rangers. I remember, obviously there was a monster, but I just didn't recall who the monster was. I remembered the Power Rangers with all the black gloves and the black boots, and I remember them fighting their appropriate counterpart. But and I thought that part was really, really cool. But as for the villain itself, I had no memory until now.
Okay, fair enough. So with our rankings, what do you guys want to rate Commander Crayfish and his? Well, we're not counting the mutants, so just him.
Yeah.
I liked him. I would give him an A. I liked him a lot.
I'm also going to give him an A. I think he's very charismatic, great design, great name, unique attack strategy. So, for thinking outside the box, but not going too far, he deserves that.
And I don't recall him, so I would say C, but I will defer to your judgments because I trust you both.
Cool. Moving on with our last monster of the ranking before we do Rita's Posse, we have Oysterizer from episode 60 in Oyster Stew. I remember this episode very vividly as a kid. I don't know why, but I remember Zach and Tommy on a double date with Kimberly and Angela at this weird French outdoor restaurant in the park. And they're all being frozen because of these pearl earrings that Zach got from Oysterizer disguised as a hobo for some reason. And, yeah, I know, it's really bizarre. And even Bulk and Skull were there playing really bad rock and roll to serenade him. It's like a Valentine's Day thing. But anyways, going back to the monster, he looks, I don't know what to think of him. He's very fleshy like Mutitis, and he's just scantily clad with open clams on the side of him. And he's got this big honking pearl in the middle of his face. He's got these two suggestive nozzles on his stomach.
He has an Audi.
Yeah. He sprays pink goo from Audi and somehow causes harm to Zach. And it's enough so to cause Tommy to lend him his dragon shield to Zach. So, the reason why they have that Power Ranger toy of Zach as the dragon vest in the Lightning collection is because of that episode. That's the only instance where he wears the vest in, the American series. So we get to see Zach go one-on-one essentially with Oysterizer with a little assist from Tommy. And this is interesting because this is one of the only instances where they actually have an underwater Zord battle. They go down underwater where Oysterizer apparently likes to be a giant, and Dragon Zord fights him because he's down there before he rises to the shore with the dragon flute prompting him. So they have a brief little scuffle, and then Megazord gets down there because he's got to join the Dragon Zord in battle, and apparently he has to get over his fear of getting his feet wet to beat him up. But when that proves to be too much for both of them, they follow Oysterizer as he leaps right out of the water, conveniently next to a mountain range where they continue the fights. And Oysterizer then pulls out his weapon, which is this ball and chain type of thing, where it's a spike on one end and then a pearl on the other, wraps it around the Dragon Zord and the Megazord, kind of keeps the edge on him. And then, at the end of the day, he's just defeated by another Mega Power Sword Slash, which, is expected, but it's still a fun, interesting battle in of itself because of the places it takes us and how you kind of have to re-strategize to think, hopefully there aren't any cracks in this Megazord so that it doesn't start filling the cockpit with water while we're fighting, because we've never done this before. It makes you think if it's equipped like a submarine or not for that kind of combat. So what do you guys have to say about Oysterizer?
I remember being really, there's no eyes on it. So it's just this clam with a pearl and arms and legs. But I still liked the way it looked. I thought it was creative, the way they were somehow able to finagle getting a monster out of this thing that, and they made sense of it, even with the big pearl,
Mm-hmm.
I do remember it because I remember being like, how did they visualize that? And I thought it was cool. I thought it was a good episode. I did like the fighting, was it the underwater, what was it? Like you mentioned, the Megazord, like a submarine,
Yeah.
I just thought it was good. I do remember it very much. It was also, of course, it being the last episode, of that season. It was good that they at least ended it with a creative villain. All in all, a solid villain.
And I have no memory of that one.
I think you're missing out, Alex. This is a good one. So what do you guys want to give it for a rating then of Oysterizer? Because I'm going to give it an A. I love it.
Yeah, I was going to give it an A. I remember just for the sheer creativity of it.
Yeah,
liking it.
Yeah, it was a fresh way to end the season, even though it had been long extended past its prime.
And much like the last one, just because I have no memory of it, I will defer to the two of you.
Cool. Well, we got through all 50 monsters. Hooray!
Wow.
You completed a marathon. I'm proud of you too. Do we want to do a really quick recap?
We can do a recap. I'll just run through them real fast because they won't take long to go through these.
Sure.
But our F category, bottom of the barrel, we have Giant, Mr. Tinkle Sneezer, Wheel of Misfortune, and Rockstar.
Oh wow.
Our D category these are kind of bad. The Chunky Chicken, Snizzard, Babe Ruthless, the Fighting Flea, and Jellyfish. And C has our most entries because we had a lot in here that were just forgettable. We have Bones, the Minotaur, the Gnarly Gnome, Pine Octopus, Genie, Spitflower, Weaveworm, Fang, Polluticorn, Twin Man, Octoplant, Goo Fish, Mantis, Dramole, Two-Headed Parrot, and the Lizzinator.
Oh wow.
Our solid B category, we had Terror Toad, Spidertron, Frankenstein's Monster or Frankenstein, Cyclops, Goatan the Liongoat, Grumble Bee, Peckster, Soccadillo, Slippery Shark, and Rhinoblaster. All right, now we're getting to some good ones here. A category. Our Pudgy Pig, the Dark Warrior, Shell Shock, Samurai Fan Man. All right, help me. Hatchasaurus and Cardiatron.
Cardiatron,
thank you. Commander Crayfish and Oysterizer. And top tier, our S category, Eye Guy and Pumpkin Wrapper. Double S, the Nasty Knight, Madam Woe, and Mutitis. And finally, our triple S, King Sphinx, Cyclopsis, and of course, the evil Green Ranger.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a very fair list based on what we've covered.
Yeah, I think it's good.
And mostly evenly dispersed. Most of it's in the middle, and then spreading thin in both directions. So nice. Listeners, what do you think about that list? Do you rank the monsters of season 1 any different? Let us know by emailing us at splatAttack2021@gmail.com or DMing us on Instagram. We'd love to hear what your differences would be for the ranking. We're going to move right along with a couple more segments with a quick bonus overview of Rita Repulsa's Posse, where we have Goldar, Scorpina, Squat, Finster, Babu, and of course Rita. So running through those really quick. What do you think of Goldar? Because I'm not going to go over too much about what I have for my notes, because we all know who Goldar is and what he's capable of.
I would give Goldar an S. I think he's always shown up when things are really pivotal. He was the first one they fought as far as being enlarged. And he has, always been a staple throughout the episodes, throughout the show, throughout the series, but also has been there really at pivotal times, whether it was with Cyclopsis or with the Green Ranger with the candle. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and I said earlier, he was the one, anytime that he showed up, I got nervous because that's when they met business.
Right. Yeah, he was great at assisting other monsters that were rather lackluster. He always knew how to put on the hurt and always, fulfilled Rita's plans, no matter how insane they were. I liked how he had wings, even though he didn't use them as much later in the season, and his very cool looking sword. In addition to what you guys said, he does like to grow big and summon putties in battle. He's very well-rounded, very formidable foe. Likes to go one-on-one with some of the Rangers to do whatever he can to weaken them, either for the monster or just straight up for the episode. So yeah, I'm in agreement. Let's give him an S. I like above anything him piloting Cyclopsis and fighting Jason one-on-one for the green candle.
Yes.
That's like the highlight moment of Goldar.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on to Scorpina. What do you guys think of her?
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alex.
Toby. Go for it.
When I was a 13-year-old young lad, me and my cousin both, a couple of preteen young men, we thought she was pretty hot. So we did like her.
We're nodding in agreement. Back then, not now. So we don't get our girlfriend and wives in trouble.
Yeah. So we thought, So we liked her very much. There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't really matter what she did. It just mattered that she stood around and.
I mean, she was a femme fatale. She lured you in with her appearance and her slightly dangerous look with the weird like scorpion motifs with her helmet, and she had this cool like curved blade that was similar to Slippery Shark's boomerang fin. She didn't quite see as much battle action as say Goldar, for example, but she did contribute here and there on her own, and occasionally assisted Goldar when they went giant. Which, by the way, I don't know what they have against using non-humans as like giant form, but when she turns giant, it's like, she starts out small, and then giant form, get away from me, because she turns into a full-on scorpion there.
Yeah, she's like an actual monster.
Yeah, she grows out a tail from the top of her head, and gets her gauntlet turned into a giant pincer claw, and occasionally brings the hurt.
I was always Team Scorpina. I think it's funny that most
over like Kimberly or Trini, you mean?
Yes, I was not really Team Kimberly or Trini, any of the Power Rangers really. I know a lot of kids my age, boys my age, really thought Kimberly was super hot and they really liked her a lot. I wasn't in that category. I didn't dislike her or find her unattractive. I just didn't crush on her like some of the other boys did. Then Scorpina showed up and I was like, okay, I could watch you the whole 30 minutes, just you. And of course, all the other guys were like, what is wrong with you? Like, shut up, leave me alone.
Well, I guess we're in the minority then, because, similar feelings.
Yeah.
Great looking outfit. Let's move on. let's give her a double S and just get on to Finster.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Finster. So he kind of reminds me of Billy a little bit, because he's the tinkerer. He's the guy behind the scenes to help. Yeah. He's the glue of the team who helps make things work. He supplies the monsters. He occasionally provides a little bit of lore and intrigue behind the creation of the monsters. Occasionally consults with Rita to figure out like what to make for her. Sometimes obviously his monsters don't land, but sometimes they also do. So I don't have the statistics. I think he's slightly more effective than not. I like his appearance. He reminds me of like something that came out of the Dark Crystal. I don't know. I'll give him an A. I like him.
Yeah, I would, just because of his sheer importance to Rita's operation. Would give him an A.
I feel like I can have a really intelligent, enjoyable conversation if we went to a coffee shop together.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also wonder if he wasn't in such a sweatshop with Rita, he might put out better creatures if she wasn't rushing him constantly every week with something new. Like
that's something.
It's an oyster. What do you want me to do with it?
That's something management never understands about being an artist. You need time, you need space, you need inspiration to be creative and effective at what you do. You can't just rush it like a machine, because obviously that has consequences.
Right.
Bad creations create bad outcomes. So, Rita's got to let up on him and give him the space he needs to do his best work.
And she never will.
Yep.
He needs to get a new job. I think he should have worked for Lord Zed. He didn't really do much in season 2, but we can talk about that later when we get to the ranking of that season, if we do.
Yeah.
Squat. So he's spiky. He's bulbous. He's dumb. He occasionally meddles in, Rita's plans. He likes Gooneyberg eggs. What do you want to say about him? He helped make Shell Shock.
What was the point of Squat and Babu? outside of just trying to be the comedic foil.
Yeah.
But you already had Bulk and Skull for that, so why?
I think they're Rita's versions of them. You know, if you put them side by side, they're kind of like twins, two sets of twins. Yeah, I can't really say much about them. You know, Shell Shock's an accomplishment, and I think a figure of Babu showed up in King of the Road and Pete as Captain Zornan, but other than that, okay.
Yeah, I didn't care much for Squat. I at least thought Babu was funny. I thought his voice was funny, the way he talked. Yeah.
Look at me, talk of me.
Yeah.
Kind of like that high pitch.
I thought at least Babu made me laugh. Squat, I just thought was just some idiot.
Yeah.
I'd probably give Squat a D.
Yeah.
And give Babu, just because he made me laugh all the time, I'd probably give him like a C or a B maybe.
I'd give him a B.
I'm giving him a B, and I'm giving Squat an F because he's a waste of space. Sorry, I mean, I could have gone D, but no, I don't like seeing him on screen. Waste of time. Oh, how can I forget? We have, last but not least, Rita Repulsa. You know, iconic name, iconic look. She's always angry. She always has a headache. She has a kick-ass looking wand that likes to make her magic monsters grow. She's not very strategic with her plans most of the time, but occasionally when she delves into the realms of dark magic, she does get the upper hand. I would say, like, with Mutitis and Cyclopsis, that was like the closest she's gotten to like a complete total victory for the episode. But aside from that, it's just like, well, throw something out there, it doesn't work. Oh, I have a headache. Leave me alone, you buffoons. What do you guys think about her?
Can we just appreciate the fact that she was just thrown in a dumpster?
Yeah, a space dumpster, a golden one.
I think that's hysterical.
Yeah, definitely points for originality origin story.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rita is iconic. She's the reason why it's all gone bad. I don't think you could not give her a triple S, you know, because she's the queen of this whole thing.
Yeah, I got to give it to her too, even if she has her flaws and annoyances and formulaic reactions.
But that's
who doesn't know about her.
That's part of what makes her such an iconic villain, though.
Yeah,
yeah,
very identifiable characteristics.
Yes,
and there's a reason why Zordon had to seal her away. I mean, I think with her age, maybe she's become impulsive and impatient, but obviously she's quite the force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
for Zordon to be like, hey, we got to lock her away and stuff, you know. But yeah, I would say triple S for me.
Cool. So we're in agreement there. Quick recap of Rita's posse, Alex.
Collectively, Squat at D, Babu at B, Finster at A, Goldar at S, Scorpina at double S, and at triple S, we have Rita Repulsa.
Seems appropriate. What do you guys think, Slimesters and Gackoids, for Rita's posse? How would you rank them? Let us know via email or GM. Moving right along, so we're time conscious. Let's do our Say What segment. So we're going to find out what monsters say what.
Say what?
Say what?
Say what?
Say what?
Say
what?
So, question 1. Which monster said this? I'll make bug juice out of you.
Jeez, how many bug villains do we have?
God.
And I'm going to have to take a total guess on this one. I was going to say fighting Flea, but I don't think a Flea would really make bug juice. Mantis.
Yeah, Mantis. That would be my answer.
Mantis is correct.
Oh, hey.
1 point each. Okay, second one. Your genius will be appreciated where I'm taking you.
I was trying to think of a character that is at least intelligent. I'm trying to, it obviously wouldn't be Frankenstein's monster.
Think about what he's saying. Your genius will be appreciated where I'm taking you. Keyword genius.
Who had the portal to the other dimension?
A few of them did.
I don't know.
It is Eye Guy when he kidnaps Billy's little brother.
I guess he was smart too.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I kind of spoiled this third one earlier, but if you're paying attention, you should know it. Ooh, you Rangers make me mad, waking me up with a rap that bad.
Pumpkin Rapper. He was the one that rapped.
Alex?
No, it's pumpkin wrap.
Yep. Okay, so you're 2 for 2 then. I could not resist. I find him grating yet enjoyable. Okay, question 4. Who said this? All right, you want to play ball? Batter up.
See, I thought that would be Babe Ruthless. If it's not,
No, that's
5 seconds.
that's the shell shock.
Yep. Yeah, because that was the one with the baseball bat.
oh yeah, the red ball. No,
Red ball is Babe Ruthless.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
that's
he
right,
had the
yeah.
he had the traffic jam, the traffic light.
Yep.
yeah, and the head cannon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
That's what I remember from is the head cannon.
yeah, it's head cannon. So Alex has 3, Toby is 2. Question 5. Ooh, I'm hungry.
No, my guess would be Pudgy Pig.
Yeah, that's my guess as well.
That is correct. So Alex 4, Toby 3. 6. Who said that? I've got plenty of room left inside for you.
Terror Toad.
Yeah, Terror Toad would be my guess as well.
Terror Toad is correct.
The
Alex.
stickers
Yep.
on the stomach.
Alex 5, Toby 4. Question 7. Who said this? You're looking winded. Maybe this will help.
King Sphinx.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Actually, no.
Oh.
It's Peckster. You know,
Oh,
the one that flapped its wings and
Yeah.
stole that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no change in score there. Alex, I think, is 5. Toby's 4, correct?
hmm
Question 8. Who said it? Well, I'm glad you finally came to your senses. That'll make it easy on both of us.
Yeah, I can't. I'm at a loss there.
I'm assuming senses has something to do with it. Like took their senses, maybe.
It's near the end of the episodes.
I got nothing.
Rhinoblaster.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed it.
Unfortunately, he didn't say many things aside from the football scene that stuck out. So that was a tricky one. Question 9. Now to make cardboard out of the lot of you. Don't worry, it won't hurt a bit, but it might hurt a lot.
Is that Pine Octopus?
Pine octopus.
That is correct. Pine octopus. So Alex is 6, Toby 5. You ate my Gooneyberg eggs. You know how hard it is to find these?
Is that Fang?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's Fang. All right,
I'm happy that I got the ones I got. Yeah.
I had to look through the list that because I didn't remember all their names. I was like, it's which one is this? It was one we didn't remember.
Yeah.
Fang is the only one that makes sense.
So if I kept track correctly, I believe Alex has 8, Toby 7. So Alex, you're the winner of Say What? Woo!
That's a first.
Good job, Alex.
Yeah. If only I had prizes to give away.
Oh,
Yeah, we're just doing it for fun. Or bragging rights for later episodes. All right then. So thank you everyone, Slimesters, Gackoids, Toby, Alex, and I guess myself, for enduring this marathon of ranking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Monsters Season 1. Really appreciate you all listening to us and just going through it, and hopefully all you diehard fans appreciated the amount of work that went into this, both with the research and the editing. We'd like to thank you for being here. We'd like to know, as I mentioned it before, what do you guys think about our ranking? Do you agree, disagree? Would you rank any monsters differently or on opposite ends of the spectrum? Email us and we'll share it during a Mona's mailbag segment in an upcoming episode. Other than that, email us splatattack2020@gmail.com. Contact us through Instagram DMs if you want. We also have a Patreon page now, which is patreon.com/Splat Attack. So if you really like to support our content and help us grow and continue to build our community with our deep dive specialty content of 90s nostalgia, particularly 90s Nick, head on over there and become a patron today. We have all sorts of different tiers offering all sorts of good goodies that will suit your budget. So see what fits you.
We'll have some behind the scenes things, a few gag reels, and we are going to be doing a bonus episode a month that you will only find on Patreon.
Yeah, looking forward to that because we'll be recording the first one coming up soon. Other than that, check out our totally rad Splat Attack shirts at our bonfire page. We also have a mug there with our season 2 Splat Attack logo if you're interested in that. Just another way to support our show. Also continue to leave us a rating and reviews on any Apple Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts or any other platform that allows it. With that said, thank you very much, and tune in next time for our very interesting episode where we pit 2 popular episodes together in our very first Are You Afraid of the Dark versus Goosebumps, The Tale of the Phone Police versus Calling All Creeps.
And also, before we bail, thank you, Toby, so much for being a part of the episode.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
And for anybody who wants to follow you, where can they follow you at?
So we're the Tape Store Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram. That's where we're most active. It's just simply the Tape Store. You could email us at the Tape Store Podcast at gmail.com. And I think we're on TikTok as the Tape Store. Brooke's usually the one that gives that spiel. We're on Apple Podcasts and some other platforms. You could just type us into Google, the Tape Store Podcast. So.
Yeah, I love your X-File episodes, Power Rangers, anything you could think of, popular 90s movies. They're definitely worth a listen because they got me into podcasts quick.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to be here with you guys. I had a blast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toby.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Rangers, time to morph out of here.
Reprise the theme song and roll the credits.
Hard to believe, folks, but it's time to say goodbye.
Nighty-night.
Hey, check us out next time for more adventure and another great legend of the Hidden Temple.
What'll we do till then?
Chill for a couple. We'll be back.
You're on, Nick.
And it was time for the superhero to move on. I declare this meeting of the Midnight Society closed.
Bye-bye.
Look, everyone, it's the Power Rangers!
My heroes!
They must have saved us!
Clear the way for the Power Rangers!
What about us?
Victory the Power Rangers! Thanks. Red Ranger is the strongest. Black Ranger has the most power. No way! The Blue Ranger is the coolest. I hear that the Pink and Yellow Ranger are the best.
I'll let you guys in on a little secret. They're all totally awesome.